the void and the light, the pale king and the radiance. With the world in pieces, it's hard to say who the hero of this story is. Welcome everyone to Hollow Knight. Here's the deal now, my friend. Soon, things are going to get tough. And so our hero's saga begins. We learn the most basic controls, so at least we don't get taken out by the first weak bug that shows up in front of us. By using the focus skill, I can absorb and use souls to heal the damage I've taken. These blue orbs are an independent force of nature, and they pulse as if they're storing life. By breaking them, you get some extra vitality masks. We're making this whole journey to reach the last and only existing civilization, the eternal kingdom of Hallownest, completely destroyed. At this gate, we move on to the first map of the game. Dirtmouth, the fading city. By sitting on these benches, we recover health and save the checkpoint. Here I meet the insect. I don't know, Elder. Hey, Shorty, good evening. What's up, old man? You know, there used to be a great kingdom down here, but now it's in ruins. There are still some fools who go down there, but to be honest, most of them never come back. Be careful. It might look appealing, but there's a sickly air down there that messes with people, making them totally crazy. Sounds cool, huh? You should go check it out later. Wow, this generation is really something. This little village is pretty abandoned, and some shops are closed for now. So all that's left is to jump into that well and start exploring. We fell straight into the forgotten crossroads. We can easily see some bugs with orange eyes, and we have to take them out. Going to the right, we enter the Temple of the Black Egg. Here I meet someone normal who's not infected. Hey, my name is Quirrell. I've always been drawn to this place, and now I plan to keep exploring and uncovering its mysteries. The environment is harsh, so be careful, kid. But don't worry, I'm tough. And so I went on my way, fighting beetles until I found a mining area. Here we meet Mila, a super happy worker who's humming old, depressing mining songs. Hollow Knight is really good at giving side stories for random NPCs you find on the map. So later, we'll try to remember to come back here and talk to her again. And of course, since this is one of the best Metroidvanias in the universe, you'll come across several areas you can't get through yet, because you don't have the necessary power. So keep these places in mind so you don't forget to revisit them later. Every defeated enemy drops Geo, which is the game's currency. Throughout the map, you'll find larva babies trapped in glass jars. Collect as many as possible for great rewards. All areas in the game are connected, so you'll often fall into different biomes while exploring. Here, I find instructions about Pilgrim's Way. Promised truths would be revealed in the kingdom's heart, but the way was blocked by a large trash creature protecting itself from attacks. And hey punk, I'm coming back to beat you up, alright? And it doesn't take long for me to find a buffed up enemy on whey protein. But of course, my friend, there was no way, and he ends up getting taken out. And the cause of death? He hadn't liked the video yet. What, man? Yeah, dude, he hadn't done it until now. But you watching there, I know you're good, right? You've already smashed the like and everything. Just thank you, my friend. Now let's get back to the story. Here at the crossroads, you'll also meet Papa Larva. That's right. Every time you save his babies, you'll get some kind of reward, which could be money or even some more important items to upgrade your character. So don't forget to always come back here to have a chat with him. In pretty much every new area you explore, you'll feel a huge joy when you hear this music.
Hey young man, want the latest map of this area? It's only 20 bucks.
Can you do it for $2?
Special deal just for you then. I'll do it for 30 bucks.
That's better. I'll take it. We bought the map for $30 from Cornifer. Thanks to him, his wife Iselda, We can travel the kingdom without getting lost. Later, we'll visit his little shop over in Dirtmouth. The map updates itself as you explore and sit on any checkpoint bench. We keep going, finding a few more little grubs, collecting geodeposits, and fighting enemies until I reach the first Stagway transport station. It'll only cost 50 coins to unlock. Visouros. It's been a while since I heard the bell. Unlock more stations across the kingdom so I can help you travel. This transport system is cool, isn't it? Once it's unlocked, you don't have to pay again unless it's a new station. Back to exploration, it was about time we had our first truly challenging fight, right? So here we find the false knight. The fight isn't too hard. I even thought I was going to beat it on my first try, but the bastard took me out. And that was our first death. The first of many. And every time that happens, you need to recover your soul and go back to where you died. Be careful, because if you die without recovering it, you'll lose all your money. Anyway, let's go for our second try against this bastard. Hit him here, all right. Now from here, it starts to get a bit more complicated. Attack this piece of trash. There you go. You can dodge behind him. Fell again. It's only stage 3, and things are already getting crazier. Go, trash can. Where are you going? What will you do? He'll hit again. Ouch, man. Let's just focus on hitting, no other way. Oh. It's over now, right? That's enough, please. No, there's still one more life left. Oh, no, there should have been, Huh, sucker. What the heck? It's over. That scared me just now. I thought, I'm gonna die. It worked out. What's that? City crest. This crest will be used as a key later on. For now, let's just keep it. Moving forward and opening some shortcuts, I reach Snail Shaman. No, little Oba. What brings you here? I sense something different about you. Maybe I should help you. Come on, take this. Here we get the skill Vengeful Spirit. Basically, it's a concentrated soul blast that flies toward the enemy, like a fireball. But of course, this power didn't come for free. Right, my friends? The shaman says a terrible creature lives here and asks for our help to remove the trash monster. So let's go. What else can we do? And look, it's the same little trash creature that blocked the path on the Pilgrim's Way. Now we have the power to keep moving forward there. After defeating it, I collect all its geo, and besides that, I find the first charm, Soul Catcher. These charms give specific buffs to our little warrior. To equip them, we have to sit on the checkpoint benches. The shaman thanks me for the help and opens the way. I take advantage of the bench there and equip the charm. This one increases the soul gained when hitting enemies. For now, it's better than nothing, right? Continuing the exploration, I find another type of transportation. The tram lines. The problem is that I needed some kind of card or pass that I hadn't found yet. But soon, we'll unlock this thing. And now, guys, it was time to face the most famous fly in Hollow Knight. This is a classic early game boss, the Mother Fly. Take that, Mother Bug. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, that's it. No. Okay, huh? Huh? It's all good. That wraps it up, folks. I thought it would be harder. And be careful, okay? Even when it seems like it's over, the mom releases her cubs and you still have to defeat them to move forward. But at least they're pretty easy to defeat. After that, I wandered around the crossroads a bit more and decided to go back to Dirtmouth to visit Zelda's shop. Fortunately, it was already open and we are greeted by her. I recommend buying almost everything she sells. It will help you navigate and find secret paths more easily, not to mention these marker pins that help you remember where benches, transportation, and so on are. Going back to the crossroads, I check out all the areas, and finally, I head towards the Greenpath, a place that was blocked by that giant armadillo thing. But now, with the shaman's power, we take him down without much trouble. And officially, we're in Greenpath, one of the cutest biomes in Hallownest. The enemies here are different, and besides that, we still don't have the map of the area. In the middle of the journey, I run into Silksong, And there she is, just keeping an eye on us. But when I get close, she runs away. She's lucky I don't have the double jump yet, or I'd be after her already. Luckily, my friends, I find Cornifer the human again. You can either hear his music from afar or spot torn paper on the ground. Either one is a sign that the little rascal is nearby. And, with 100% inflation, the price of the map has now gone up to 60 geels. Now that we've got the map, I started exploring the whole area more carefully. In the process, I even use my ninja techniques to save another one of those little creatures. At a certain point, I meet the hunter. A mysterious being who is impressed by our boldness in approaching him without feeling fear. My brother, there's an emptiness inside me that keeps me from feeling anything, and so I spend my days wandering around aimlessly.
Man, after that.
I'll even like the video to make you happier. Just be grateful. He gives us the hunter's journal, and with that, we can learn a little more about all the enemies you find out there. The more you defeat, the more information will be unlocked. Leaving there, I wander around until I find a very dark structure. But since we still don't have any way to light it up, it's hard to continue, and I prefer to leave. This map also connects to the Fog Canyon. But, in the same way, this is a pretty spooky place to explore in our current condition. So, I decide to come back another time. Here in the Greenpath, you'll find some stones that tell stories about the region, and they will be connected to a being. It's understood that this entity was responsible for creating all this green vegetation. She is almost like a Mother Nature in the eyes of the beings of Greenpath. But moving forward, I defeat some more strong enemies, find a different connection to the crossroads. And right there, I see a fool who was being devoured by a giant wasp. I save his life and defeat that monster. And now, I meet the craziest weirdo in all of Hollow Knight. What's up, you punk? Who do you think you are? To get in the way of the great, powerful, and handsome Zote. Zote? Get out of my way. Hey, move aside, you trash. Crybaby. After messing with Zote, I leave him there and go on my way. We find another beetle tunnel, and finally, I come face to face with Hornet. She knew we were following her. She feels that something terrible is awakening. Besides that, she seems to know about my past, something I don't even know yet. And without wasting time, she tries to stop me, challenging me to a fight. Her battle is awesome and lets you unlock one of the game's best abilities. So try not to hit too much. Get in 2 hits, then back off. All right? More rest. Let's hit again. We can take the opportunity to heal ourselves at this point, I think. Good timing. Oh no. Oh damn. If she falls one more time, I'm going to take the chance to heal up and go after her. Now I'm going to heal. Twice. Keep going. Good. What will she do next? She wants to come at us to pull that off. Get out. Nice. Done. All right, no problem. She accepts defeat and flees the arena. And thanks to the fallen body back there, we learn the skill Mothwing Cloak, which is basically the classic side dash skill. And before we can leave, something happens. What happened?
He tries to break the seals. They cannot be undone. They must be undone. Let us sleep, little shadow. Return to your darkness. Leave us alone.
And that, my friends, was the first appearance of the Dreamers. Soon, I'll share more details about who they are soon. But for now, there is only a feeling of confusion. We continue moving forward until we reach the lake. Inside the house, we find Quirrell, who, like us, is gradually learning about the surrounding nature and his link to the entity. Other than that, I don't find anything else here, so I go back to search for the passage where we found Zote. After all, I hadn't explored everything there yet. I thought this was part of the Forgotten Crossroads. But I still don't have the map for this area. Then I find the dubious chest empty, but when I jump in there, I fall into a damn trap with 2 armadillo-like enemies charging at us. I even die twice like a fool in this mess. Until finally, I finish off the Masaseka and get my reward. Another charm for my pocket, the Baldur shell. After that, I just kept looking for unexplored places through the Greenpath until I find a highly dangerous path. After surviving, you get the Thorns of Agony charm. I also faced those bushes, but this one was giant, and I decided to go back to the crossroads to visit Papalago. I got some Geo, and look at that. The guy even gave me a mask shard. Our first one, actually. Whenever you collect 4 pieces, you get another mask. Going outside, in Dirtmouth, we meet Tiso. Hey there, little pale one. If you want to fight, Meet me in the arena down below. Then we'll throw down. Dang, damn. Yeah, guys. Later we have to find this arena. Zoth the Mighty is around here too. And he's just going to keep telling a bunch of made-up stories. At Iselda's shop, I buy all the missing pins. And now, my friends, it was time to head back down. The next area I wanted to explore was the Fungal brothers' house, a place known as the Fungal Wastes. The enemies here are like mushrooms, fungi, or even flying spores. Personally, I think this place is one of the coolest in the game. Maybe it's because of the music, which brings this calm feeling. And a little while later, I'm lucky enough to find Cornifer hidden in a corner. For just 75 geo, I get a copy of the map. Another thing you'll find around here are some items that can be sold in the capital. For example, this Hallownest seal. Its only use is to sell it for some money. But I'll show you that later on. Connected there with the Fungal Wastes, to the left, I can reach the Queen Station. There, I unlock another stagway for 120 geo, and even further to the left, we reach the canyon again. But let's leave that place alone for now. I continue my exploration until I find 2 giant mushrooms. These creatures keep headbutting and spitting that orange poison. But it's all good, I take them down. As a reward, we get a charm notch, a very important item to be able to use more charms at once. In the northernmost region of the Fungal Wastes, I missed this little spot with a bench to rest, and a limping bug named Leg Eater. What's that smell? Hey Damon, am I good or not? No, fool. I'm smelling geo, money. Give me some cash and I'll show you something really cool. Oh, here we go. So I give him 86 coins. You really want to see, huh? Give me more geo and I'll show you. What a scam. Actually, he opens his little shop. And here we'll have some fragile charms. They're called that because once equipped, they'll only last as long as we're alive. In other words, if I die while using any of them, it'll break and become useless. To fix it, we'll need to return here to buy another. These charms are powerful but costly, right? Heading back down, we meet the warrior cloth. She said she had a chat with the long-necked human who shared some information about the existence of a warrior-class tribe down in the depths. Maybe we should take a look down there too. In the Fungal Wastes, you'll see the sign marking the end of Pilgrim's Way, meaning Hallownest's capital is nearby. However, I lack the skill needed to pass. Don't worry, we'll return soon, and as we go down, different enemies start to appear, until we enter the Mantis village. And it's in this place that you get the power to cling to walls. Thank you, my clawed friends. Now parkour is going to be way better. Going down a bit more, I find another charm called Dashmaster. The name says it all, right? A little buff for our dash. So I decide to explore their village a bit more, and after going through several obstacles, enemies, and puzzles, I finally reach what seem to be the leaders of this tribe. And we have only one option. Challenge them to a battle. The fight starts with only one of them attacking you, while the other 2 watch. Unfortunately, I messed up and, well, I died. And check out the broken charm. Yeah, that thing is really fragile. On the way back, we meet Quirrell again. He points out that the Mantis keep their intellect and honor intact, not being affected by the infestation that has been tormenting the residents of Hallownest. A helpful tip from our adventure buddy, he suggests I visit the old capital, where a skilled blacksmith can upgrade our nail. Thanks, friend. You're a true friend. I decide to go there to get my money back and try my luck one more time. And honestly, while I was fighting her, I noticed that my nail is really struggling, huh? I had to land a lot of hits to defeat the first one. And after that, man, things get crazy, because you're going to face not 1, but 2 at the same time. I held out as long as I could, but with my weak nail and poor gameplay, I had no chance of winning and was finished. So, I decided to take Quirrell's advice. I get my money back and head toward the capital. With our new parkour skill, I managed to get through that passage. The path isn't very friendly, but it's all good. In the end, the bridge is fully activated, and we also need to use that crest from before to open the city gates. Annoying enemies appear until I find our friend on the bench. He's happy to be here, but a bit scared to continue. You know me, I don't hesitate, so I'll keep exploring the city. And now, we're officially in the City of Tears. It doesn't take long before I find the blacksmith's house. Man, this nail is really trash. Help me out, come on. Do your thing and I'll solve this problem for you. So I hand over the $250 to upgrade the nail. The thing got more powerful, but next time I want to upgrade it, I'll need to bring some pale ore. Unfortunately, I didn't have any yet, so I moved on, testing the blade on every trash bug I found. I tried to go back the way I came, but that sneaky gate had closed. I needed to find an alternative way out. After wandering around, I came across a large fountain that seemed important. Hornet appears and shares some important information. She says that our resilience is the result of 2 voids. And from this point on, we will learn about the sacrifice that keeps me standing. After learning the truth, as our final objective, she says we must go to the Grave of Ashes to receive the mark. After that, she leaves and we can examine that statue. Memorial to the Hollow Knight. In the black chamber far above, through his sacrifice, Hallownest remains eternal. Cavallero Vazio, which in English is the Hollow Knight. Apparently, this knight gave his life to protect this entire kingdom. Black Chamber, which we previously knew as the Temple of the Black Egg. Yeah, guys, we got some answers here, but we ended up with twice as many questions. So I kept going, looking for a way out, until finally, at least, I found a bench to rest on, and our friend Cornifer to sell us a map for 90 coins. The fool Zote shows up here once again, talking his usual nonsense, and up ahead we find a simple key, a pretty important item, and also another stag station. This one cost 200 coins. Not too bad, since we're rich now, right man? Up there, I had to activate the elevator for 150, so I'm just losing money. And now we have access to the Forgotten Crossroads from here. That's it, friends. We finally found the first alternative exit, huh? And since you're up here, go to the left and you'll get a vessel fragment. Collecting 3 of these increases your soul storage. It's an important item, so try to find them all in the game. With the exit ready, I make my way calmly to reach the Fungal wastes again. I get to Ant Guy and buy the broken charm again. I go to the other checkpoint closer to the Mantis village, equip my charm, and head out for the fight. And now, my friends, I was really mad and with my nail upgraded. Let's start this battle. Let's compare damage. How long will it take to beat her? I should have jumped. I messed up already. I'm even staying quiet, really focused. Still, I made some pretty bad mistakes there. That was fast, huh? It was much better. Let's go, guys. Don't just slap. Don't get carried away, okay? Don't just slap. I told you, man. She comes back the way she used to. Oh, nonsense. That happened too. I think it's over, right? It's over. Do you have all 3 at the same time now? No, just the wood-flavored one. Now that we've won, we have the respect of all the tribe members. And the path to the left is open. Here, we reach the Deepnest, one of the worst places in the game, in my humble opinion. And if you think I'm lying, check it out. Even Cornifer agrees with me. The poor guy is totally scared of this place and could barely draw anything. That's why the map is so cheap. Only 38 bucks. Since I'm already there, I explore a bit, but decide to return to the bench to see if the map fills in anymore. However, I decide to go back up there, buy the other 2 charms from Ant-Man, and head towards the City of Tears. After all, Deepnest is kind of creepy, so maybe it's more interesting for me to visit other places first. When I get there, one of the most important things I find is this structure, which required my simple key. By activating it, we open the passage to the Royal Waterways, which would be the sewers of the capital. Since we're there, I take the opportunity to look around the area out of curiosity. But of course, things start to get a bit tense, and I prefer to go back and stick to my current plan. The cool guy I was almost forgetting to talk to was the relic collector named Lem. Remember when I mentioned the existence of certain valuable items out there? Well, by talking to Lem, you can sell all the ones you have. Personally, I recommend that you only sell them when you actually need the money. You don't risk selling everything and then losing it all to bad luck. Especially if you can't recover your shade. Here's a tip. As you climb higher in these structures, you'll come across some pretty annoying little mages to deal with. At least at first, when you haven't gotten the hang of it yet. But no worries, we take them down, and climbing a bit higher, we reach Soul Sanctum. It's clear that these guys have the power to manipulate souls. Maybe the smartest enemies we've faced so far. In one of those structures, we see that they were looking for some way to overcome the limitations of the mind to achieve pure focus. And so I keep moving forward, defeating some strong enemies and unlocking blocked passages. At the top, I find a charm called the Spell Twister, and as expected, it doesn't take long before I reach the boss room. It's time to face the Soul Master. He's going to keep that crap now. Now I'm on to you, buddy. What are you thinking? I find that crap again. Then it comes spinning. All right. Jump. Hey! You're cheating, huh? Hey! No, but this one isn't over yet. I think there's more. It's too easy. Man, he's so annoying. Almost. Ouch. Didn't have time, nice. One more time. Take that. Take that. Got you. Got you. Got you again. It's gone. There won't be any more, right? Oh, there's more, man. Eich. Up to here. Dodge, dodge. Done. It wasn't that easy, man. Come on. Wow, the guy went crazy. Is this really the time for us to be guiding? Take that. Oh no. He ran off. Now things will get crazy, right? Okay. All right.
Tá bom.
Man, he tricked me, okay? He tricked me. Will he have many lives left, or just one more? Screw this. Oh, damn. Damn, what an annoying animal, man. Was that it? It's over, right? I ran for my life. And as a reward, family, we learned a new skill. With Desolate Dive, any ground that shakes in my presence can be crushed and destroyed. Not to mention, it's also a damage skill, right, to smash those trash insects. And little by little, with each new power we learn, new areas can be unlocked. And after defeating a few more enemies and saving some little larvae, I find a very suspicious door that's locked and needs a special kind of key. We'll have to come back here later. But I think for now, we've finished the City of Tears. And I take the stag to go to the Forgotten Crossroads. There, I already find Tiso mocking me for using the transport lines. But here's the thing, man. If you like walking, that's your problem. I'm all about calling the stag. Here, I start exploring areas I couldn't reach before. On this side here, close to where we fought the Gru's mother, you can get to Salubra's shop, the Charm Lover. Besides having a beautiful collection of them, you can also buy individual notches from her at a good price. But for each one, she'll require you to have found a specific number of charms. For example, I was able to buy the first one. For the second one, I needed 10 in total, but was one short. So I bought 3 more I liked. That way, I could equip another charm in the next notch. Now, for the next one, things got serious. I needed to have 6 more. Besides that, I was already broke, right? So I sat him on the bench, reorganized my build, and got going. But before leaving, don't forget to go into this little house. This little bug is called Sly, and he was almost getting taken by the infection. Our presence makes him wake up and not succumb to the hallucinations. As a thank you, he tells us to talk to him later in Dirtmouth. So that's what I do. In Dirtmouth, Sly is the owner of a shop. And check out how powerful the items are, man. Mask Fragment, Soul Fragment, Keys. Anyway, the guy is awesome. Make sure to always visit his shop to get some unique items. The important thing here is the Lumafly Lantern. With this lantern, we'll be able to explore dark places without getting wrecked. Since I'm still broke, I end up buying just the Mask Fragment. But I'm really tempted to buy that lantern right away. So I make sure to go back to the capital to try to sell all the items I found so far. But unfortunately, I only managed to get 1,400 Geo. So I'll need to save up some more money to make up the rest. So then, I spend some time just beating up all these bugs. Until finally, I save up the 1,800 coins, I go back to Sly's shop and buy that darn lantern. And now, my friends, we're ready to explore a new region. And I plan to go to the mining site near the crossroads. Also to visit our buddy Mila, right? But something had already changed. Unfortunately, her eyes were orange and she couldn't interact with us like before. In other words, she was infected. Whoever is responsible for this, I'm still going to beat you up. And to progress in this area, you'll need the downward dash skill. Because as I said before, it's also used to break those cracked floors. And officially, we're in the Crystal Peak biome. A pretty dangerous place, with conveyor belts, sharp crystals, trash metamorphs, even with those trash laser armadillos, and some insect-crushing boulders. Yeah, this place can be pretty dangerous if you let your guard down too much. And the worst part is that the path is pretty long until you finally reach Cornifer, the map guy. But when you get there, just hand over 112 coins to him and the map is yours. And not too far away, I find a bench, but someone was already sitting there. Yeah, guys, the fight against the Crystal Guardian begins. My friend, wait. Okay, calm down. Get ready. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Jump. Uh-oh, he got mad. He got mad. Ouch. It's all good. It's all good. Let's keep going. Ouch, I jumped right on him. Done. We're in this together, man. We're good. Guys, I don't know if you saw it, but the crook ran away, right? At least we didn't get caught. We got our bank back. Shortly after, I take the chance to equip the extra life amulet and continue exploring. Further up, we see Quirrell again. You seem really strong, even though you're small. You just haven't seen how big my sword is, man. Io. But hey, did you notice that the bugs down there, even the infected ones, keep working, right? It even seems like the crystals in this area are like a source of energy. Maybe not as strong as soul, but it has value. Where do you think I learned this? I just wanted to know if you left a like. You kept talking. Okay, my bad. I did. We're in this together. It's fascinating how this character explores the kingdom to understand a past he appears to know. It's like he lost his memory, but still has those disconnected pieces of information in his mind that are slowly being reconnected. I really like this guy. Moving on, we've reached the most important spot on this map. We've learned another new skill, Crystal Heart. Now, my friend, we have the power to keep moving horizontally until a wall, or make it stop. You can even use the skill while you're on the wall, just like I did there to save that little grub. Another important item on this map is the shopkeeper's key. When you can, take it to Mono Monosly in the city. Other than that, guys, we found an awesome shortcut that connects the peak with Dirtmouth. Since I was already here, I went to the little shop of Moschina Man and gave him the key. He thanks us for our honesty in returning it, and he says that now he'll be able to sell some other unique items that were locked away in his warehouse. I buy the simple key and use it on that building at the edge of the city. And inside here, we meet Confessor Gigi. Basically, she offers soul recovery services. You know when you die? That's right. If you think you died in a really tough spot, and you think you're going to die again before you get there, you can come here and, in exchange for a rancid egg, which is an item you find around the map or buy at Sly's shop, she'll summon your shade here, and you'll be able to recover your money safely. It turns out I didn't use this service even once in this playthrough. But there's the explanation for you. Next, I decide to go back to Crystal Peak to keep exploring all the possible areas. There are still some parts I can't reach, but at least I made it to a different structure. And here we are at the crystallized mound. It's a pretty annoying place, with some platforming sections that will really test your precision skills. But at least I managed to save a little grub and got the descending dark upgrade. We got this power from a shaman who was crystallized. Now that downward smash power is a little bit stronger. Leaving there, I come across a suspicious cliff and just throw myself off without thinking twice. Entering an extremely suspicious place. Cursed are those who turn against the king. Yeah, man. Things are getting pretty intense. To the left, there's a tram line that I still can't activate. But to the right, something different happens, and we're forced to inspect that structure.
To protect the vessel, the dreamers sleep. Monomon, the teacher, in her archives, surrounded by mist. Lurien, the watcher, in his spire, watching over the city. Hera the beast, in her den, within the deep darkness beyond the kingdom. Through their devotion, Hallownest remains eternal. Locations of the dreamers added to the map.
Do not advance further, little shadow. What drives you to escape the darkness? What brings you back to this sacred kingdom? A call from beyond the seals? By the vessel? Or by that captive light? Would the seals be broken? They cannot be undone. But the vessel weakens. This plague has returned. They must be undone. But our seals remain. Our duty endures. It must be cast away. Our duty endures. It must be done. Vanish, little shadow. Vanish and let us sleep in peace.
And so, we wake up in a different place. Well, it seemed like things were bad, but now it looks like they've gotten worse. Here, we are guided by a moth that seems almost transcendent here. She knows our destiny and offers a tool that will help us better understand the world of dreams. She gives us the Dream Nail. With this weapon, we can cut through the veil that separates the world of dreams from reality. And once again, we wake up, but now we're back in reality.
Welcome back to the waking world.
Man, what a trippy dream that was.
Those three are the dreamers who sent you to the dream world. But with the nail I gave you, even they can't escape now. The problem is, the nail is a bit busted, and you will need to gather the fragments of light, called essence, so that little by little I can increase the power of the nail. Essence is what makes dreams. Collect these fragments from trees across the kingdom, enemies, and by accessing ancient warriors and Hallownest guardians' dreams. Gather 100 essences first and then come back here.
All right then, my friend. I'll be back soon. Well, now we have a nail that can access the dream world in some way. And these little plants here are a way to gather those essences into the nail. Now, to sum up what has happened so far, it's possible to understand that those dreamers are in disagreement. One of them wants to break the seals, while the others don't. The seal has weakened, which is why one of the dreamers wants to break the seals, believing it's dangerous to leave it as is. We also know the seal is connected to the black egg. And finally, our protagonist seems to have originated from the darkness. But there still aren't many details, and with the dreamers' masks on my map, it looks like our destiny is really to break those seals. But anyway, all that's left for me is to move forward. I activate this stag station, and at least this time it was free. And the map for this area can only be bought at Zelda's shop. Wandering around like a fool outside, I decide to break one of the tombs that was just sitting there, and I end up in a really strange place. Heading to the left, I find the big elevator that, bizarrely, connects to the City of Tears. But we end up in a really different region, far from anything we've explored so far. Here you'll run into a lot of enemies, and at least you'll get a vessel fragment, which is really great. Besides that, this area is the King's Station. So far, it's the priciest passage to unlock. I had to pay 300, which felt steep. Exploring right, there's a shortcut connecting to Kingdom's Edge, but of course, I still hold back before going there. Let's take it easy, right guys? Now, to the left, we reach the Blue Lake, and here we meet Tiso again. Tiso seemed a bit angry and lost, since he only found a calm lake instead of battles and fighting. By this lake, you'll also find a connection to the Forgotten Crossroads. And after hanging out, I go back to the Sears area. The area that's actually called Resting Grounds. And before continuing with the exploration, I go back to Dirtmouth and buy the map from Iselda. Another cool thing is that she's selling some pins to mark those essence plants. And also to mark warrior graves. In other words, the guardian bosses who have passed away. And now we can access their dreams. With everything ready, I go back there looking for my first duel with one of them. And this one is Zero, a brave warrior who ended up being affected by the infestation and met a tragic end trying to use his strength to get rid of it. And so, the fight begins. Let's see. Whoa, he's coming at me with everything already. I'm already hitting him here. Look, I'm not going to slack off. Hey, wait. He's only using one sword, okay? If he decides to use the other one, things are going to get tough. It's fine for now, but he'll get worse. You'll see. There it is. He's getting worse now. Oh. You have no idea, he's crazy. Wow, man, I don't like this. Now I'm screwed. Done. Nice. Wow, I thought it would be harder. Okay, he was easier. After defeating him, I accidentally skipped the conversation. But basically, we understand that he was killed by the king because he betrayed him. His tomb is an example for all in the kingdom. And as I mentioned before, Zero met a tragic end because he was a warrior of the kingdom and ended up being consumed by the infection. He tried to deal with it using his strength, which probably made him raise his sword against his king. And now, we've absorbed his essence. And now we have 121 saved up. I could already talk to the seer, but I keep forgetting. I went to Dirtmouth because I wanted to visit Grubfather. After all, it had been a long time since the last visit. We got a lot of money and a charm called Grub Song, but for now, that's all there was. And at this point in the game, I take the opportunity to spend some time exploring the old maps using the new powers. The most interesting thing in the Forgotten Crossroads was that I faced an optional boss, the Brooding Molek. And honestly, it's pretty annoying. I ended up dying several times until I understood a little better how to dodge those cursed poisons. Here's a tip. Whenever he throws that area poison, jump over him before the poison lands. By doing this, you'll be able to hit him several times and win really quickly. As a reward, you get a mask shard. So, it's definitely worth facing this guy here. In this map area, there's another mask shard. Complete the parkour and you're done. That's all I found for now, so I moved on to the Greenpath. Here, there's this parkour section where you'll need the crystal dash. It's also pretty tricky, but you'll get the hang of it. And honestly, there will be much harder stuff later on. Seriously, after a lot of struggle, I finally reach a house. Here, we meet Sheo, the master of the nail. Good evening, my little shadow. Are you standing before the legendary warrior, the master of the nail arts? These days, I'm tired and became a painter. But I had my days of glory. So, you became a has-been then. Hey, show some respect, all right? How about learning the nail art from Tobinhus? Whoa, easy there, buddy. And so, I agree to learn a new ability. Here we get the skill Great Slash. By holding the normal attack, we now have a much more powerful strike. Where else, guys? It was really worth doing this run. Another place we can explore now is the Stone Sanctuary, thanks to our lantern. At the end of the path, you'll find another mask shard. However, this is also the home of a dream boss. This one is No Eyes. While the fight is happening, I'll briefly tell you her story. She was also affected by the infection, but before she completely succumbed, she found a rather radical way to protect herself. By removing her own eyes and the eyes of the nearby insects, she chose to live in complete darkness inside this sanctuary. She protected everyone from those who were fully infected. In fact, she senses our presence and thinks we want to attack her. But in the end, she understands that we didn't mean any harm, and with that, she accepts her well-deserved rest, far from the light that brought all this harm to them. Pretty sad, right, guys? The fight has a really weird little song, but her story is also pretty bizarre, isn't it? And in the end, we get 200 essence. Let's head to the next spot. Finally, I find the third part of the vessel. And now, we have more space to store souls in our inventory. And now, I headed towards the fungal wastes. And right there, at the Queen Station, there's a mask just lying around that I hadn't picked up before. Now, going into the fungal area, I also found a charm called Spore Shroom. And this guy here is highly suspicious. His name is Moss Prophet. He's clearly 100% infected, but unlike the others, he's celebrating the infection. And maybe even luring other bugs to the same fate. But anyway, everyone has their own craziness. In the middle of exploring, I fall into another mess in that nest. And there, to the left of the place, you see? The game finds a way to throw you into this mess that seems to show up all the time, man. But anyway, let's just go. At a certain point, I go even deeper. But at least the surprise is good. We end up falling right into a hot spring. Don't fool yourself, you're still in a filthy nest. So be very careful where you walk. Moving forward, I reach an unfinished bridge. Honestly, falling into this place was worth it since you get the tram pass here. It's a new life, my friends. We've leveled up. As we keep exploring, I find our buddy Cloth. She had the desire to test her strength by facing strong enemies. But now she seems tired and very scared. Fortunately, she decides to rest, and as soon as possible, she'll look for a way out. Of course, here you'll also find another warrior trapped in dreams. And here's a tip. Right above him, there's a deposit of extra blue health. So grab it to make this fight easier. This is Galion, a brave warrior who wanted to prove his worth to the former Pale King. The Pale King was the ruler of all Hallownest. Galion came to Deepnest to show his strength. Sadly, this became his tomb. As usual, the soul doesn't realize it's gone and speaks as if still alive. During the conversation, he even refers to his body on the ground, like he was just some poor guy who couldn't handle Deepnest's dangers. Wild, right? To beat him, watch his weapon's movement so you won't get surprised during the fight. Other than that, my friends, just beat him up. In the end, you'll get 200 essence and Galion will finally be able to rest. Now, there's a really important secret spot here in this mess. Jump onto this little ledge just like I did, and break this secret wall. Besides a little grub, you'll find a copy of yourself calling you over. And when you least expect it, you've already fallen into the trap of that bastard. Welcome to the boss fight against the secret boss, Nosk. This bastard can copy the faces of familiar bugs to lure and trick his prey. And of course, this guy here is pretty annoying to beat. He's going to use me as a punching bag many times. The first time I died, I ended up finding Quirrell taking a bath in the hot springs. He says he's thrilled to find such a comforting spot in a dump like Deepnest. Enough to make you leave a like on the video. I totally agree with him. Back to the boss. Be careful, because this trickster doesn't give you a break, alright? He comes running at you like a speeding dry noodle, and like I said, man, I died many times before finally winning. It's really annoying. Nice, going over worked out well. Hey, Trash, come on, I'm running out of ideas for you, bro. My bad, I'm dying. Let's see. Oh, was there still something on the ground? Biss, dodge. 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 He can't possibly have that much life left. Dude, look how much this guy is spamming that skill, man. What a messed up game. I'm out! It was just hits. My friends, hallelujah. This thing is finally dead, man. I was almost going crazy already. But the reward is really important. We got Paelor. The timing couldn't have been better, especially since this fight took several minutes. My sword was already too weak. There's still one more thing I need to do here. I kept moving forward, going deeper into this cursed nest. And here, besides these weird little worms, it's the home of spiders and beasts. And here they're called weavers. They're all very skilled artisans. That's something interesting to know as the story goes on. And after a lot of insane parkour, traps, and annoying creatures, we finally reached the distant village. Surprisingly, in this place that looks like a total dump, I found a stag station, and for 250, we unlock this thing. I make sure to use the big stag to go to a spot with a bench. That's so I can update the village map. It's important to do that so you don't get too lost, especially in this really twisted biome. And now, my friends, I go into one of those houses and run into a really weird group of people. And as soon as I sit on the bench, I had already fallen into their trap. We wake up trapped, and apparently, I was going to be their dinner. By pressing the buttons and moving around, we managed to break free. We were in the dreaded beast's den. As you may have noticed, this is a marked spot on the map, showing one of the dreamers is here. And if you remember, Era was the one who was in her lair, far from the kingdom deep down below. So, after going through this filthy maze full of enemies, we reach her resting place. A figure sleeping, lying on the stone pedestal. All that's left for me is to hit her with the dream nail. Here we proceed. And once we find her, only exchange a few random hits. When she starts emitting essence, that's when you should focus and absorb it all. At that moment, the first seal was undone, and the containment of the infection was weakened. We woke up, and now I can easily find a way out. There was still more to explore down below, and around here you'll find a secret wall that hides a strange NPC, the midwife. This NPC reveals that Era, the queen, made a sacrifice. Era, the dreamer and the queen of the nest, was the loving partner of the Pale King. Apparently, there was an agreement between them, but we still don't know exactly what that agreement was. Before you can learn more, the creature will try to eat you. Yeah, man, stay sharp, okay? Otherwise, you are about to get bitten in the face. Speaking of the midwife, we also have another pretty interesting NPC around here. This is the mask maker, the one who designs the masks for the whole kingdom. He also seems to know our destiny and origin, and he mentions something called the worm, connecting it to the Pale King. So, could the worm be the king's race? Anyway, guys, as I make my way back, I keep finding some little grubs and secret places. Here we enter the Weaver's Den. Besides the rancid egg, we also have a charm, the Weaver's Song. Outside, you'll find one of those essence trees. And adding it up, we have around 566, huh? I'm stalling to go back to the seer. And finally, after a long time, I'm leaving this place along with my buddy Big Beetle. The first thing I wanted to do now was go to the smith, So I went there to the City of Tears. The scoundrel asks for the ore and another 800 geos. And now, the nail is a bit stronger. Since I was here, I took the path to get to the fungal wastes. I saved my checkpoint, bought the charm that was broken, and headed toward the guardian boss that was marked on the map. This one is Elder Hu. He was a wise traveler who tried to cleanse the minds of the infected, but he couldn't avoid the same fate. He made it to the Mantis village, but with his mind already altered, he ended up attacking them and died in battle. So this memorial was built in the wastes to honor his true motivation. He aimed to help the sick. His attacks are easy to dodge, and we quickly send him back to his grave. In the end, he admits causing the village's madness, and they were right to kill him. Thanks for the 100 essence, rest in peace. Here in the wastes, I got another one of those essence trees, and also a charm back in the Mantis village, the Mark of Pride. This one is one of the most powerful, man. It extends your nails range, letting you hit from farther away. Another key character on the map is Bretta, who needs rescuing from a tough situation. Bretta, from now on, will be totally in love with you, because you saved her life. Yeah, man, Toquinho here is already winning hearts in Hallownest, huh? But anyway, now we're finally done here. I take public transportation and go to the resting grounds. After talking with the seer, the reward for collecting 100 essences will be a Hallownest seal. It's an item you can sell for money later. Now she asks for 200, and the reward was opening a door that had been closed for a long time. She does this as a sign of trust in us, unlocking the passage so we can go inside. Before leaving, I keep collecting the rewards. For 300 essences, you get pale ore. With 500, you get the Dream Wielder charm, the charm that increases the collection of essences and souls by hitting enemies. And now the old lady is asking for 700 essences, so I need to gather more. I decide to go to the door that was opened. And here, we enter the Spirit's Glade. In short, there are several spirits resting here. The most important one is Rivek, and he already threatens to take me out if I treat the spirits here aggressively. Here you can talk to all of them peacefully. And further in, you'll find an item to sell to the merchant. But if you're reckless like me, you can collect the essence from all of them, including Rivek. But you'll need to be really good at parrying. Which I'm not, but I went for it anyway. Basically, as soon as you try to take any soul, Rivek will come after you and launch ranged attacks. And your only choice will be to defend yourself by parrying. Each time you absorb one, it won't return, even if you die or leave the room. If you're unsure or near death, just run away. If you die, you can resume from where you left off. In the end, when there are no spirits left except for Rivek, he'll understand that there's no reason to stay anymore, since there are no more spirits for him to protect. And then, he accepts his fate to finally rest. In the end, we totaled 703 essences. That's enough to talk to the seer again. As a reward, I get a vessel fragment, and now I need to collect 900. So, later on, we come back here. Other than that, guys, I decide to keep moving forward in the story and head towards the Royal Waterways. I access it through the manhole we activated back in the City of Tears. The place is really dark and even a bit confusing. Down there, by chance, I find another mask fragment. Just one more to go to get another life. This is likely the map where I spend the most time searching for Cornifer without success. I explore so much that I find an NPC, Emilitia the Eternal, hidden in his room and a bit out of his mind. An important person from the upper class of Hallownest. At some point, she was expelled by her family. But that turned out to be more of a good thing than a bad one. Everyone in her family got infected except her, as she was far away. This story makes her happy in her room. Now, we can reach the capital directly through her house. Continuing my exploration, I finally find my buddy Cornifer. And I get my map for 75 geo down there. In this stinky place, you'll find a really cool guy. This is Flukemarm. She's the mother of those trash parasites that live in the sewers. It's an optional fight, but you'll get a charm at the end. It's pretty easy. Just try to get rid of the little ones she spawns as quickly as possible. This way, pests won't pile up and you'll have time to hit her easily. After you win, the Nest charm will be on the left. Now let's get out of here. Here in the Royal Waterways, you'll also find a pretty important boss. This one is the Dung Defender. He was one of the 5 great knights of Hallownest, and the most loyal to the Pale King. His mission is to protect access to Isma's grove. Isma was another one of the 5 knights. The fight against him isn't very hard, but I end up dying once because I was careless. The secret is to keep an eye on the dung balls that keep bouncing around. Other than that, his movements are pretty predictable and not very fast. Little by little, I take him down after a while. After he does his flying fart attack, we get our reward, a charm called Defender's Crest. I move on and activate that device. It looks like with that, access to the grove is now possible. Exploring over to the right, I find another essence plant. And finally, now I'm going to use my tram pass for the first time. And look at that, the tram is arriving. That's awesome. Inside, there's a small bench and buttons on each side to pick your direction. Heading right, I reached an area where I don't have the map yet, and even some raggedy-looking bees appeared, so I decide to go back and keep going down further and further. Here we arrive at the ancient basin, and I decide to do a little exploring. Pretty quickly, I find Cornifer the mapmaker and grab that little map for 112 geo further down. There's also a fancy bench that cost 150 geo to activate. I thought it was a rip-off, but since I'm loaded, it was fine. Further down, I find a gate with a strange mark, and there's a message there.
Higher beings, these words are only for you. Our pure vessel has ascended. From here on, only the rejected and regrets of its creation remain. We must not enter this place anymore.
Yeah, guys, keep this message in mind because it's going to make a lot more sense later on. For now, I can't go any further than this, so I keep exploring the map. And, aside from some poison machine gun creatures, I find a simple key in an unpleasant spot. Naturally, I soon get in trouble by running into a boss, the broken vessel. As you can see, he's a lot like me. Maybe a little too much, which shows that there are others like me out there. So, were we created by someone? Anyway, either way, let's go beat him up. In that fight, stay sharp or you'll take a heavy combo and get knocked out. Getting back is tough, so good luck, my friend. After several failed attempts, my tip is, play calmly. Don't walk or jump too much. Focus on memorizing his moveset and use the brakes when he's tired to heal up. Other than that, my friend, just take him down. The reward from this boss is amazing. With the Monarch Wings skill, now I can do the famous double jump. You guys on the channel know how much I love this moment, right? There's no greater freedom than jumping around in midair. Long live the double jump, my friends. And going back to the boss's body, you can face an even tougher version of him in the dream world. That's when I decide to do it. And here, the boss's name is Lost Kin. Man, this guy here is way too tryhard. I literally spent over half an hour just dying over and over. Either he's hard or I'm really bad. Which is funny because it took me 22 minutes to beat the Nightmare King later on. But anyway, right? No more spoilers. You'll see that fight later. And basically, the deal with the Lost Kin is the same idea as the first fight. It's just that he's way more overpowered and the little ghosts spawn much faster too. And after a lot of suffering and depression, I finally defeat our kin. And with that, we get 400 essence just from this fight. Yeah, for such an annoying boss, this was the first time we got so much essence at once. Now, going back to exploring, I reach the palace grounds. There's a warrior on the ground in white armor. And for now, there's nothing we can do. We'll come back here later. To the right, we have the hidden station. For 300 coins, I activate this passage. There by the warrior, just to show you, I try to access his dreams, but I can't. It seems like something is missing. And soon, we'll find out what it is. Moving forward, I find a very curious well. A true servant gives everything for the kingdom. Let the pale king of Hallownest take your burden. Next, I can donate all my geo at the fountain. But I hesitate. What if I lose everything and get nothing? We'll return here later, so don't worry. I decide to go to the tram again, but this time I go to the left. And over there, we just arrive at Deepnest. And honestly, I just want to get out of this place, man. Right around here, guys, if you keep going to the left, there's a kind of hidden area. Go there, because you'll find more pale ore, alright? It's really worth it. Now that we have 2, we can upgrade our nail one more time. That's it for now, and I decide to go to the right using the tram. Here, I reach Kingdom's Edge, just to do a little exploring. Pretty quickly, I find a passage that connects to the royal waterways. Since I was here, I went to check out that Isma's Grove, which was blocked by the Dung Defender. I ended up facing a few waves of enemies, and most importantly, we got a really powerful skill, Isma's Tear. And with that, acid is now repelled, allowing us to swim in this green water without dying. And just out of curiosity, that's where Isma is found. But we don't know what happened to her to end up in that situation. If you know, leave a comment on the video. I'd love to find out. Now, there's little left before we can explore nearly every region in the game, right? I think there are still some things that will unlock, some passages, but regarding parkour, I think this was the last one that was missing. I decide to go back to Kingdom's Edge, and I quickly manage to find the human conifer. For 112 coins, I get my copy of the map. Kingdom's Edge is definitely one of the most important areas for the game's story, and as we move forward, I keep finding secret paths that take me deeper and deeper, until I get trampled by a giant trampoline mosquito. In this area, you'll get the Quick Slash charm, one of the most overpowered charms in the game. Equipping it makes your hit much faster. Now, going back to that house. Here we meet another nail master. His name is Oro, but this rascal here doesn't teach anything for free. He'll charge you 800 coins to teach you a new skill. Since I had no choice, I sent him the money. Gasol. That's how we learned the dash slash. It's basically a charged attack that activates when you dash forward at the same time. It's not the kind of attack I'm used to using, to be honest, but it's definitely very useful. While exploring the area, you'll come across some very mysterious black barriers. And for now, there's no way to get past them. The most important thing here is to find Hornet, once again. Keep going up and you'll run right into her.
Look at that, Menno. You're really not gonna give up, are you? Let's see if you're strong enough to handle the truth. Prove you can accept this kingdom's past, but claim responsibility for its future, and most importantly, face my needle in your Tobinhus.
Oh boy, here she comes. And so, my friends, part 2 of the fight against Hornet begins. She seems determined to show us the truth. However, she wants to test our strength, to see if all this effort won't be in vain. The second fight with her is more intense, featuring new attacks. This troublesome girl made me die multiple times. Before returning after the first death, I got distracted by other unexplored areas. My ADHD kicked in, but it was actually worth it because I found a spot to get extra life and even a bench that was kind of hidden. And now the checkpoint is set. Hornet is going to be much closer. The best tips I can give you to win this fight are not to try to land too many attacks at once. Try to hit and then keep your distance so you can predict her next move. The fight is fast, so it's fine to just get in one hit after each attack. And before you know it, she's defeated. Hornet starts to recognize our strength, but she still doubts that we'll have the will and determination to go all the way after learning the truth and getting to know ourselves.
Take the mark and declare yourself king of Hallownest.
With that last line, the passage is opened and I move forward. Here we find a gigantic shell, and inside, we're in the abandoned shell. Reaching the bottom, we find what Hornet was talking about. Here we receive the king's brand, and with that, Hallownest should recognize me as the new ruler, and the gates of the kingdom will now be opened. However, a great earthquake happens, and we are swallowed by the debris. And now, fortunately, Hornet rescues us without saying anything before something worse could happen. The mark we received was the mark of the Pale King, and that shell was the former body of the king. Little by little, we get to know a bit more about the past of this kingdom. Continuing with our exploration, I find the Tower of Love, which only had a locked door and a shortcut to unlock below. This path connects with the City of Tears. I take this moment to map out our next objective, since the edge of the kingdom has been almost completely explored. My mission now is to reach the other dreamer, who is right here in the capital. The path there is filled with enemies, and there's also a really annoying boss to face. This one is the Watcher Knight. Actually, it's not just one, but 6 knights in total that you need to defeat. They come at you 2 at a time, so be very careful and try to alternate your attacks well. And I died many times to that jerk. Only later did I remember that you can destroy one of the shells before the fight starts, reducing the number of enemies to 5. There's a secret door nearby, and you can drop a chandelier or candelabrum on a knight's body. But since I forgot, I had to beat them all the hard way. Actually, facing just them is pretty easy. The most annoying part is when they use their rolling attacks alternately, not giving you much room to dodge. So just be careful with that attack, and take the opportunity to heal when they're far away. Sometimes it works. In the end, I almost get taken out, but I managed to beat those losers. With the path clear, we can keep climbing higher and higher. You'll even find some records from this dreamer. They gave their lives for the king and to protect Hallownest. We understand that they were somehow watching over and protecting the obstacle that's guarding and holding back the infection. And up there at the top, we find their resting body. I enter the dream and do the same thing we did with Era, absorbing all their essence into our nail. And so we broke the seal of Luri, the Watcher. Only the seal of Monomon, the one responsible for the archives, remains. Yeah, guys, little by little we're getting closer to the climax. But as incredible as it may seem, we still have a lot ahead of us. And as I promised, now that we're rich, I went toward the well in the ancient basin. The total amount you're going to give is 3,000, and it will never go beyond that. In exchange for this offer, we receive a vessel fragment. If you want to get strong in the game, there's no way to skip this quest. Anyway, let's get out of here. My mission now is to go to the blacksmith so we can upgrade our weapon one more time. The only problem is that he wanted 2,000 Geoman. We just spent all our money, so we're going to need to sell some items. So I went to the merchant in the capital and sold just what was necessary. And with the money ready, it was time to upgrade our nail. And man, for the next and final upgrade, he's asking for 3 pieces of pale ore. And I'm sure it's going to be way more than 2,000 coins too. So I'll only come back here when I'm really rich. And before continuing with the story, I decide to go see Papa Grub. And since I usually pass through Dirtmouth, I also visit Zelda's shop. The only thing left to buy was the tram pass. Now these beauties will be marked on our map. And another house that's now available is Bretta's. And here you can get another mask shard, so make sure to visit. See how cute our little character is back there. Out of nowhere, even a ghost appeared in the city, the Gravedigger. He says random things, and I instantly use the dream nail on him. And now, heading towards the crossroads, you'll see that the name has changed to Infected Crossroads. That's because we've started breaking the seals. And because of that, the infection is spreading much faster. And when we get to Papa Grub, man, look how cool it is. All the little creatures we've already rescued. As a reward, we get rancid egg, a lot of money, a Hallownest seal, and that's it. The rewards used to be better, huh, Papa Grub? And now, since we've managed to save up some good money, I decide to go back to Sly's shop. And here, I buy a mask shard, a vessel fragment, getting a bit more space to store things. After that, I end up broke and can't buy anything else. And now, we're finally back to our main mission. I take that good public transport and head towards the resting grounds. I talk to the seer, because last time she wanted 900 essence. And as a reward, we get a really good ability. It's called Dreamgate. By holding down while using the nail, we can open a portal. And by holding up, using the dream nail, we can travel to the portal we've marked. So, we'll have a kind of teleport anywhere we want. That's really good. And finally, the seer now wants 1,200 essence. We're not missing much, but we'll come back here later. But now, my friends, as you remember, we have the king's brand. So I decide to go back to the ancient basin and find that giant door that was locked. And with this brand on our shell, now the door opens automatically. And in this place with a highly questionable vibe, I keep going down until I reach the abyss. And about that question of whether there are others like us, just look at the ground and you'll see lots of shells from many bodies that look a lot like us. In fact, even some souls like ours, when we die, start to appear suddenly. This whole place is really strange. Heading to the left, I find a place that apparently has nothing, but later, I find out there actually is something to do here. Don't worry, we'll come back later. Now, heading to the right, I keep moving forward, facing several spirits that appear along the way, until I reach a structure that was deactivated. And when we activate it, there seem to be several souls inside, or some kind of matter that's emitting a light. Since nothing else happens, I leave the place. Continuing to the right, I use the big dash and reach another place. And it's here at this suspicious statue that we get a new power. We receive the Shade Cloak, and now, when we dash through those darkness barriers, we'll be able to cross them. I know there are still some things for us to do here, but we'll come back later. And reaching the top, climbing all the way up again, we find Hornet. She explains to us that this is the place of my birth. Apparently, I was formed by this void that exists in this place. And soon, we'll have the choice to either prolong this world's current state or face the heart of the infection. Yeah, my dude. Looks like the fate of this world is in our hands. As always, right? As always, Blanc has to find a way to fix things. So now, my friends, it's time to go after the Dreamers. Only Monomon is left. And apparently, she's over there in the Fog Canyon. I'm going through Queen Station since it's the nearest. As soon as we reach the biome, Millibelle the banker greets us. Let me warn you, she's a scammer. All the money you leave with her, she's going to take it away. In fact, it's possible to get that money back later if you want. But, if I'm not mistaken, she'll be in a very well-hidden place. So here's a tip. Even in Hollow Knight, there are scams. And as cute as this biome looks, it's just as dangerous. There are some really nasty jellyfish here that will deal 2 damage if you let your guard down. Got it? By exploring this place just a little, you'll find a bunch of lush areas. Make sure to come through here, because you'll find a very important upgrade. We receive the Howling Wraith's power. By holding A while pressing up, you'll unleash a wave of specters that will deal damage to the enemies. And continuing with the exploration, after getting through some tricky parkour, we find our buddy Cornifer, just chilling and drawing hidden maps. And for 150, our Google Maps gets updated. And when I told you this place was dangerous, I wasn't kidding, man. Check out this minefield you have to walk through in this mess. Yeah, I even died there, man. But going back there, man, make sure you go through this whole part, because it's really worth it. The reward is a charm notch. And that's not an item you find very often, alright? And finally, we reach the entrance to Monomon's structure. There we see Quirrell, after a long time. Man, this place looks really familiar to me. I thought it was my desire to discover things that brought me here. But now I feel like it could be something else. And I feel like this place is calling me. I'll be going in there soon. We're in this together, buddy. May you find answers just like I did. And in here, we're in the teacher's archives. In this place, we learned that Monomon helped the king with some kind of plan. And she was a very intelligent researcher. And before I can even move forward, my path is blocked by a boss. This is Umu, a gigantic jellyfish that keeps sending out shocks everywhere. The coolest thing about this fight is that you can't hit it. And at a certain point, Quirrell shows up to help you. Thanks to his attacks, her defense drops, letting you land hits. You have to take advantage of this moment. It's a memorable fight because you're with your partner. After some great attack sequences, we send her packing. During your exploration, you'll find several notes about these experiments, it seems. Did she also help create the vessels, just like me? Whatever it is, she ended up creating these jellyfish, which apparently got out of control. And finally, we reach a really big tank. Something seems to be shining inside. Out of nowhere, Quirrell shows up and asks if she called us too. Because it doesn't seem like a coincidence that we arrived together. Now I remember this place. Inside these chambers, the professor tried to store the kingdom's knowledge within them. She stored herself. Voluntarily, she turned herself into a seal. But on herself, she cast an additional protection. I don't remember very well, but I know I played a part in it. And now I'm here. To undo that protection. All to help you. Don't hesitate, my little shadow. The decision to change was hers, not mine. She knows very well what you're doing and agrees with it. And here, my friends, we have no other option but to use the dream nail on her. And in the same way, I absorb all of her essence. And now, my friends, all the seals have been undone. Yeah, kid, the last seal is broken. What you're trying to do is tough, but I've seen your skill, and she knows you're capable. With this mission done, I can finally leave. I head to the Queen's Gardens and find the bench where Cornifer was, but only a message remains. To get the map, I have to buy it in Dirtmouth, but at least I find a bench to rest. Exploring the area, the first thing I find is the love key, and it will probably open that mysterious door back at the Tower of Love. And another tragic detail is meeting the Moss Prophet again. Now he's completely infected and can't move anymore. I believe this happened after the seal was broken. These are the consequences of our choices. Before moving on, I decide to go to Dirtmouth, and I buy all the maps they have for sale, including Ivante's Cliffs and the Queen's Gardens. And now you can even see Cornifer sleeping back there, man. Is there really no new area that I haven't discovered yet? We'll find out later. I return to the gardens with the new teleport ability. Just note you lose 1 essence each use. After fighting trash mobs, opening shortcuts, and collecting essences, I reach the area's boss, the Trader Lord. He was a Mantis tribe leader, but was expelled after letting the infection affect him to gain strength. That's why some are here in the gardens. His attacks are super fast, which can take you out if you make any silly mistakes. The way back here is a bit tricky, so I recommend you use the portal ability to get here more quickly. The biggest secret is mastering the use of the Shade Cloak, dodging attacks with precision. After dying, 300 times you'll get it. I believe in you. And if you follow this path, you'll find the White Lady's hideout.
Little Shadow, I was already expecting your arrival. You came from so far away. Your fate is cruel, and you'll need strength to endure it. I have a gift here, 1/2 of a whole. Please, take it.
This is how we receive the white fragment.
I see that you have met Hornet. She is the result of a pact made between the Pale King of the Worm and the Queen of the Nest, Era. With Hornet, you may gain a powerful ally. I sense that the seal has been broken, and there are only 2 outcomes for such an event. Either we will all be affected by the infection, or you will become the replacement. The first vessel was flawed. As for you, I feel that you could fulfill this role. I warn you to prepare yourself well before moving forward, because the infection in the vessel must be very strong, and she is as well. She will take the lead. But don't take too long, because if it breaks prematurely, the plague will unleash all its rage and power that has been held back for so long. Good luck, my little one.
Wow, guys, let's go. Apparently, the king tried to contain the plague, and the idea was to create an empty vessel without mind and without feelings, so that it can hold all the light and existence of the infection. This light seems to have consciousness, not just being a disease. It has desires and feelings, as the lady mentioned, and now it's up to us to take on the role of containing the plague. In place of that vessel, which because it wasn't perfect, ended up allowing the infection to start gaining strength. Okay, we have a few more answers about what's been happening here, but there are still questions. Soon, we'll have more details about this, so I continue exploring the whole garden until I find another dream warrior. This is Marmu. She was a great protector of the queen. The queen promised to teach her to fly after returning from her retreat, but she passed away before keeping her promise. Now, she rests in this totem. Her fight is honestly one of the easiest in the game. Just volley her back and forth, and it's GG easy. After you win, she still says she's waiting for the queen, as promised. At least now, her soul will find rest. We receive 150 essences for this fight, so I decide to go back there to the resting grounds. But Big Beetle says he managed to find the beetle's nest, the place where he was born and raised. Maybe we should stop by there later. For now, I went straight to the seer, since we already had the necessary essences. Then, she only gives me a relic to sell. And now she asks for 1,000 and 1,500 essences. Yeah, man, it's not easy. So I decide to go to Big Beetle's nest. Right away, it's already worth it, because I find a vessel fragment just lying around. And stepping outside, we reach the Howling Cliffs. Here we find a dream boss. This is Gorb, a crazy guy who claimed to be omniscient and was looking for followers. Nothing special about this guy here. Let's sting him. The fight itself is super chill. Just dodge the attacks and strike in between. I think for nothing, I send him to heaven. We get 100 essence from this fight. Continuing with the exploration, I find another nail master. This one is called Motto. He taught me a new skill for free, unlike the last one. Here, we learn the Cyclone Slash. While charging the attack, press up or down to perform it. That's a skill that's interesting to use depending on the enemy. And the last important thing to do on this map is to find the Johnny's Blessing charm. Johnny was one of those who sought to live through blue life energy. The king opposed those who used this magic, though the exact reason is unknown. And just a correction, I said it was the last thing to do. But actually, there is a very important hidden place for the Grim DLC. Here you will find a very strange body, and you will use the Dream Nail there. Red essences will appear, and nothing will happen. But when you come back, the path will have changed, and a structure appears. When you hit it a few times, red fire fills the whole place. Even if it doesn't seem like it, something in this world has already changed. I'll show you soon. I take the essence plant and leave. I decide to go to Deepnest. Right in that area I couldn't get through because of the shadow barrier. There you'll get the sharp shadow charm. This is one of my favorites. It makes you deal damage every time you dash through an enemy. It's like dodging and dealing damage at the same time. Personally, I really like using it, so I keep looking for places I couldn't explore before and get another mask shard by crossing the fungal wastes to drop into Deepnest. Yeah, it's kind of complicated and hidden. I also head towards the resting grounds and finish exploring that area inside a tomb. Here, you'll be able to get the Soul Eater charm. Besides that, I also find a unique place that looks a lot like Dirtmouth. In this house, we meet the Grey Mourner. She was one of the king's 5 knights and was very attached to the daughter of the traitor lord. Yes, that Mantis lord who we beat up earlier. The daughter has died, and the Grey Mourner asks you to deliver a delicate white flower to the traitor lord's daughter's grave. The problem is that this flower is extremely fragile, and any hit you take will destroy it. You can't even use teleport or the stag because it will break too. Basically, we have to travel from the resting grounds all the way to the Queen's Gardens on foot. Yeah, we're pretty much going to cross the entire map horizontally, you know? I suggest leaving a portal active at her house, so if the flower breaks, you can quickly return, grab a new flower, and restart the route. Don't worry, you'll need to do this several times. The path is really tricky. The main tip is not to sit on any benches and try to defeat all the enemies that get in your way. Most of them won't respawn if you need to start over, so that will make your route a lot easier. On the way, I stop by the charm vendor's shop and buy a charm and a notch, just so the trip isn't wasted. And look at this crap, guys. It only takes 1 hit for this thing to break. But anyway, take it easy, plan your route well, and stick to it until you reach your goal. Some people like to clear the path and defeat enemies first, then calmly go through it again. That can also be a good option. After much tension and anxiety, we made it through the last platforming section and finally arrived at our destination. We placed the flower, and the Lord's daughter's spirit appears briefly, seeming to thank us. With nothing else to do, I teleport back to the mourner. She gets really emotional about what we did, but out of nowhere she disappears, leaving us with a mask fragment. I didn't understand anything, but hey, I'll take it. So I continue my journey to explore old places and head to the Tower of Love. Here, unfortunately, you'll run into the Collector, an optional secret boss who's totally crazy. The guy looks like he came straight out of a cartoon, you know? And his battle music is really awesome. After going a few rounds with the boss, I take out this trashy guy on my first attempt. Up there as a reward, you'll get 3 little grubs ready for you, and best of all, the Collector's map. Now all the remaining grubs will show up on your map. I didn't show where I found them in the video, since you can get this map by defeating the boss, which makes things easier. I thought that was really cool. Now, heading over to the City of Tears, near the elevator, you'll reach the famous Colosseum of Fools. Here, there are 3 levels of challenge, and each one has a price to pay to participate. And finally, I find Tiso down there. And now the guy really seems happy to be able to test his strength. For now, I'm not going to take part in the challenges, but I'll be back soon. Back in the capital, I start to see all the doors I passed by, and on one of them, I use a simple key to get in. Inside, we arrive at the Pleasure House. Hold on, buddy, it's not what you're thinking. It seems to be a house where people used to gather to watch some musical shows. We even encounter the spirit of Marissa, a former singer who once mesmerized everyone with her beautiful voice. We listened to her sing for a while. But hey, that's cool, my friend. But the world is going crazy, and I can't waste too much time. So sorry. After wandering around a bit more, I go back to Dirtmouth. And look, some things have already changed. The Circo du Soleil has arrived to brighten up the night. Or maybe to haunt our nights. The city, Brazil.
It was you who called us. Nice to meet you. I'm Grim, the master of the troupe. Your role was already set the moment you accepted our contract in Scarlet Flame. But first, I need your help. Here, this is the Grim Child.
Seek out my people and claim their flame. The child will help you. Keep it with you so the location will be visible to you. Good luck.
So now, after need, I'm stuck in a contract with the master of a highly suspicious troupe that appeared out of nowhere. Yeah, let that be a lesson, folks. Don't stick your stinger where it doesn't belong, or you'll get in trouble like us. We'll continue the DLC story later. If you visit the houses in Dirtmouth and talk to Sly, he'll be in his shop. He acknowledges that we found his students. Yes, all those nail masters were students of this little bug. And as recognition of our skills, he gives me a beautiful charm. Who would have thought, huh? This little bug is tough. Really tough. This charm reduces the charge time of all nail abilities. For those of you who like to use them, it's a great item to have. While I'm at it, I also buy another mask from him, a vessel fragment. and the cool charm that collects the geo automatically. The next region on my list that I want to go to is Crystal Peak, and while I'm exploring these areas, I'm always rescuing those little grubs that I missed before, alright? And check this out. Do you remember the boss from this place who just escaped? Well, that bum showed up again, and now he's the enraged guardian. The fight against him is pretty rough. It's frantic. There will be lasers coming from everywhere, but once you really understand his attacks, the fight starts to get easier. After you take him down, just grab the reward, a nice mask shard. Going way up, I reach a new place called Hallownest's Crown. And look at that. What a beautiful sight. We found pale ore on the ground. Finders keepers, right? After exploring a bit more, I go back to Dirtmouth. At Sly's shop, I buy the elegant key. And I also get another charm. That's because I want to collect all the charms in the game. Here in the King's Pass, between the cliffs and Dirtmouth, there's a hidden charm called Fury of the Fallen. And finally, guys, after wandering around for a long time, I'm heading towards a new biome. Here at the edge of the kingdom, if you remember, we found some little bees asking to get stung right at the entrance. If you're quick, you'll find this secret entrance and discover their home. Welcome to the Hive. It's a place I recommend you only come to when you're pretty powered up, okay? The creatures are pretty annoying, and with your powers ready, you'll be able to explore this biome fully. Bees live apart from the rest of the kingdom, making their home well hidden. This isolation kept them unaffected by events in Hallownest. For them, nothing changed. Sure, except I showed up and messed everything up, right? But let's leave that aside, right? What's interesting here is that you'll find a mask shard and an optional secret boss. This is the Hive Knight. He's super skilled and will have some really fast attacks. When he makes it rain little bees, I recommend you just focus on dodging them, and when he gets tired, take the opportunity to heal up. Other than that, since my sword was already pretty strong, the fight ended pretty quickly. The battle's reward is one of the game's most overpowered charms. Called Hive Blood, this little thing makes you regenerate 1 health after a few seconds whenever you take any kind of damage. It's pretty broken. There, I meet the spirit of Vespa, the queen of the hive. She's glad that the knight can now rest, but she warns me that she knows my origin and purpose, and that she's not the queen I'm looking for. Relax, ma'am. I'm already on my way out. Now hand over the essence to me. Other than that, guys, I just finished finding the little grubs and head to Halides. I catch my bus and go talk to the seer, since we've already gathered the 1,500 essences. And as a reward, she gives me another mask shard and now asks me to gather 1,800 essences. Yeah, man, this thing here never ends. Then I head over to the infected crossroads and spend time collecting grubs, charms, and I find a dream boss I hadn't seen before. Here we're going to duel with a tougher version of that knight from the beginning. This is the failed champion. And honestly, there's nothing failed about him, because he's insanely overpowered. Seriously, man, I got wrecked by him so many times. I even had to go swap out my charms to beat him. I highly recommend, especially Quick Slash and Mark of Pride. That way, you can hit him quickly from a safe distance. And after almost losing hope of victory, we get a nice surprise. You're done, champ. That's a wrap. Unfortunately, this guy here dropped 300 essence for me, letting me reach 1,800. It ended up being much faster than I expected. Before leaving here, I'll go to Grubfather to get our rewards. And besides a lot of money, we also get pale ore and an item to sell for cash. And with all that cash in my pocket, I buy everything Sly had in his shop, bringing our hero up to 9 masks. I grabbed all available charms, including the rancid egg, and sent them straight to the inventory. While I was at it, I go to the charm collector, buy the last notch and the quick focus charm. She also had a blessing there that you can buy when you collect all 40, but now I just needed to visit the seer to see what would happen. Unlike everything she has given us so far, it seems the nail has finally reached its necessary strength. So we receive the Awoken Dream Nail. There isn't a single mind in the kingdom that we can't invade now. From now on, she won't have any more gifts. But if you want to collect 2,000 essences, you'll earn the Seer's achievement. At that moment, my wish was to fully upgrade the nail with the nailsmith, but I still needed the last pale ore. It was in the Colosseum of Fools as the second challenge's prize. So, it was more than time to get started here. First, we began with the Trial of the Warrior. And here, my friends, we're going to go through a series of waves of enemies that will often seem endless. You're really challenged to use all your skills, so take it easy. Take out the enemies one by one, and always heal during the break between each wave. At the end of the first challenge, you'll need to defeat 2 fly mothers at the same time. And look, we managed to win the battle on our very first try. The first reward is 1,000 geos plus a charm notch. I thought it was pretty good, and with that, we unlock the Conqueror's Trial. I rearrange my charms and get ready for the fight. Unlike the first challenge, the platforms will get a bit more complicated at certain moments. There won't even be any ground for you to stand on, so you'll have to master your parkour skills to stay alive. I went through a lot of tough moments during the fights, but only with some extreme luck was I able to heal and survive the next wave. And a very important tip is to try not to panic. I say this because the waves are really long. Each challenge lasts several good minutes of fighting, so take it easy without worrying about how much is left or not. That's the best thing you can do in the final wave. Here, you'll face 2 janky balloon guys who keep throwing poison everywhere. The easiest way I found here was to focus on one first, so you only have to deal with the other one afterwards. Stay sharp, because he gets really mad after you defeat his partner. And once again, we completed the challenge on the first try. The reward was 2,020 coins. And of course, that beautiful pale ore. Back in the lobby, I leave the Trial of the Fool unlocked, the last one. But first I visit the blacksmith to upgrade our nail one last time. Since I knew that Crook was going to charge a lot more, I stopped by the merchant first and sold him some stuff. With 4 grand in my pocket, I went to the blacksmith. And yeah, the guy really did charge 4,000. Man, that's what I was afraid of. But it's all right. At least now we're fully maxed out. Man, I never thought I'd see such a pure weapon like this. Enjoy it. I'm going to head out for a while. When I go outside, he seems to be reflecting on some things. It seems like now I don't have any more reasons to live. My work in this life is complete. My only wish now is to see and feel the true strike of the nail. I can't do that, man. Without you, I wouldn't be here. Sorry, but I can't grant your wish. Stop being dramatic and just hit me with the nail already. That's a choice you really can make. But I decide to keep him alive, even though it was his wish. He was a great partner throughout our journey. But getting back to what matters, let's go to the Colosseum. This time we're starting the real Trial of the Fool. This is the craziest and toughest round here in the Colosseum. You're going to face everything. Here you've got dengue mosquitoes, armadillos, rolling balls, frogs, masked spiders, invincible centipedes, shock mages, mini incubators, little guys, and all sorts of situations that are impossible to explain, and some are even pretty desperate. And after more than 300 waves, only the last one was left. And the final boss is the God Tamare. Basically, it's an Ant-Man riding a really strange parasite beast. My tip for you is to focus on his mount. The ant will barely move, so you don't need to worry too much about it. Whenever possible, focus your attacks on the big beast, and you'll easily win this reward battle. We get 3,005 coins and nothing else. Unfortunately, that's all there is here in the Colosseum. There's also a key to pick up here, but I'll find it later on. My mission now is to go to that white knight I couldn't invade before. But now, with the awoken dream nail, things are going to be different. And now, yes, here in the palace grounds, I can enter this knight's dreams. Right away, we're greeted by a bargain bin white knight, who deals 2 damage with his attack. So be very careful. And finally, we access the White Palace. This is a very important place for the game's lore, but it's also one of the most annoying places in this entire universe. Annoying, because this is where your parkour skills are tested to the limit. The map is really awkward to navigate, and there will be several doors to unlock little by little as you get through the challenges and go up each floor. So don't worry, you're going to die a lot around here. It's important to equip only the charms that will help you survive here. Also, be sure to use the bee charm. It will be very helpful. Here's some context. This is the palace where the Pale King once ruled before it fell into ruins. After the infection, the Pale King vanished, taking the palace with him. That's why we can only access this place by using the awoken dream nail within the real world. The palace no longer exists, and only a few ruins remain, and the whereabouts of the king are completely unknown. We don't know if he is still alive or not. All the beings of the palace, both those that exist and those that once existed, were created by the king, just like me. And the vessel that now holds the infection to protect the kingdom, shells filled with the void of the abyss and programmed to obey the king's orders. But coming back to this damn place, I find the Path of Pain, which has a somewhat hidden passage. But before moving on there, We first need to finish the entire palace, and when we finally get close to the end, we go up to the top of the palace, and here we see only the body of the Pale King on his throne. No cost is too high. Going to the right, we find unrelated record, Radiant. There will only be one light to face the darkness. The worm will become the guide, and minds will expand, contribute, surrender, the promise of eternity, and the burden of the cursed progeny. Now, returning to the throne, all that's left is to strike that body, and the item received is the other half of that mask, completing the king's soul.
Soul of worm, soul of root, heart of the void.
And so, we return to the real world. With this king's soul, we can move forward to the kingdom's final destiny. But first, I need to go through the path of pain, as promised, so unfortunately, I go back to the palace and access the path through the secret corner. And honestly, the path is pretty long. So, I want to show you only my successful attempts, so you can see the whole thing completed. You don't need to watch a ton of cuts or see me dying over and over. I already died 1,000 times, so there's no point showing it. My main tip is to always check for fake walls, because the checkpoint in this place is only those infinite soul totems that you'll find every now and then. And some of them are kind of hidden. Other than that, my friends, it's get good. In other words, you have to get really good at this. So I'll just show you the whole path with the runs that went well. This last part here, brother, at least for me, was the worst part of the whole path. I don't know if it's because my mind was already tired and fried, but man, I almost lost it there. Totally out of my mind. But finally, after defeating the knights, we have this beautiful scene of the Pale King and his first vessel, successfully created. And that's why, my friends, it wasn't perfect. There was affection, a strong bond between them, and the vessel, which was supposed to be made only of void and nothing else, ended up being changed and tainted, and that's why he couldn't withstand the infection for long, and it managed to infiltrate his mind. But that's it, my friends. Now it's time to go back to the real world. I still need to use that elegant key we bought at Manislide. And for that, I went to the Soul Sanctum, and there's a door that's locked inside. Right away, there will be some trash enemies, but the most important thing here is this device with a figure inside. And this? Here we get the upgrade for the Vengeful Spirit, now called Shade Soul. Basically, the thing just got even more powerful. I think now we can start the Grim DLC, right? So when I equip the Child Charm, I can see the scarlet flames on the map. Our mission is to go to the marked spots and defeat these guys from the Cirque du Soleil. Their flame is automatically consumed. The first one we collect is in the City of Tears, and before heading to the next one, I see that we still need to upgrade one more of our skills. Going down to the Abyss, you go to the very back of that room. From here, you need to use the skill, Howling Wraiths. That's what happens. And just like that, the thing digivolved into the Abyss Shriek. Same move, just way stronger. There's still more stuff to do here in the Abyss, but I'll be back soon. Now I headed towards the Royal Waterways to open a secret passage that I missed here. You'll have to get past some really annoying creatures until you reach the Junk Pit. This place is where you access the Godmaster DLC, which unfortunately, due to time constraints, I wasn't able to do. I can finish it in another video if you want. Just let me know in the comments. I thought it would be as simple as going there and opening it, but I need to use a simple key on this thing, so here we go looking for a key. Remember I said there was one in the Colosseum? Yeah, so that's where I'm going. If you go to the right corner, you'll find a secret wall. And here you'll come across a really strange creature. You'll need to hunt it the whole time while dodging the spikes. Be careful, this little creature is tricky, okay? But after a few minutes, it's defeated and will drop the simple key. Sorry, little buddy, I just needed this. Now, going back there, I insert the key and the golden cocoon is opened.
What is this?
Before picking up the item it left, I enter its dreams.
Blasphemy, supreme blasphemy. O crawling being, O cowardly being, O lowest of the low, by what right do you invade this sacred temple? Sneak away from here and disappear, disappear.
Although we're told to leave, we return just to pick up the item on the ground so the game doesn't bug. This is the God Tuner and it's key to completing the DLC. As I said, I won't challenge the Pantheons for now, but maybe someday. Anyway, let's focus on our main mission. I'm heading to the Greenpath to collect the second Grim Flame. I also rescue the missing little grub and grab the third flame in Crystal Peak. With that, we complete the first part of the quest. I return to the circus to confront Grim. The child grows a bit more, but he says something's still missing and the cycle remains incomplete. We have to get 3 more flames so the show can go on. While you watch me collect the other 3 flames, I want to give a brief context about the troupe. There is a world of nightmares like there is a world of dreams, and this troupe serves the entity. Called the Nightmare's Heart, the troupe goes in search of places where the Nightmare Lantern is summoned. This usually happens in lands that are in ruins, like Hallownest. The beings we're collecting flames from are the ones who go to these locations and gather them. Our job here is to collect these flames through the Grim Child, so that Grim can deliver them to the Heart of Nightmare. And so, the cycle completes. We must defeat Grim in the Nightmare world, so a new creation can emerge through the Grim Child. The cycle repeats like this. Yeah, this whole story is pretty crazy, right? We parachuted straight into this mess. But what can we do? After lighting the last flame, I take the opportunity to grab the little grub that was nearby. Returning to Dirtmouth, it was time to start the first dance with Grim. As soon as we talk to him, the rascal absorbs the child right in front of us.
Come on, dance with me. Show that you deserve the leading role.
And so, the fight against the Troop Master, Grim, begins. It's pretty insane, and maybe one of the hardest fights in the game. Actually, not this one, but the next one, for sure. At first, his attacks threw me off, so I had to die a good few times until I got used to his moveset. And the tip here is the same as before. Keep Quick Slash, Sharp Shadow, and memorize the moves. After you master that, it's GG easy, my friends. Then, he gives the child back to me and encourages me to keep searching for more flames on the map, because only then will the dance be 100% complete, and as a reward, so we can't say we're just being used, I get another charm slot. Now I'm going after the rest of the flames. Always made sure to save the last grubs on the map, ending with the final one in the hive. Then it was time to return to Dirtmouth and finish this mess. Right when you enter the Circo du Soleil, maybe for the last time, we find my man Grim sleeping like a bat. It's time to hit him with the Dream Nail, and here we are officially in the presence of the Nightmare Heart. When the boss gets a whole screen for his name, you know things are about to get bad. Let's start the Nightmare King Grim Battle, just like I did on the Path of Pain. I'm only going to show here the fight where I succeeded, so you can see how this battle went, from start to finish, without any cuts. Basically, the fight is the same compared to the first one, but of course, the guy gets way more aggressive, attacking much faster with a few new moves. So take it easy and try to stay focused, because any slip up here is fatal. His attacks now deal 2 damage, so that's pretty dangerous. And, believe it or not, it only took me a few tries to beat him. I guess after the Path of Pain, my fingers were already well trained, huh? Now enjoy the rest of the fight. The battle ends and everything just disappears, but the child still remains with me. Because as I told you, that's the troop cycle. This cute little creature here is going to be the next Nightmare King. I kept finding the missing larvae and rescuing Zote, the troublemaker again. Once I collected them all in the kingdom, I returned to the Grubfather. From the larvae we get more money, and, as a final reward, a charm, the Grubberfly's Elegy, a really strong charm. It will summon waves of energy with every basic attack. I really could have used that in the fight with the last charm, the true boss, but I ended up forgetting. We're almost at the end of everything, guys. I still needed to collect all the charms in the game. So for that, I went to Crystal Peak. I go through some parkour and get the deep focus. Then, I go back to the abyss, because there's a secret door there that will only open when you have a total of 15 blue masks. With a total of 15 blue life masks, you can do this by equipping the Joni's Blessing and the Lifeblood Heart Charms. When you get there, the lights will start flashing one by one, and here, besides a lot of parkour, you'll find the Lifeblood Core Charm. Basically, it will give you even more blue lives. The next stop is there, at the lake. Hidden by the acidic waters, a huge aquatic slug will spit out the shape of Uncharm. And the funniest thing about this item is that when you equip it, you can camouflage yourself as if you were a little slug while recharging your life. I thought that was simply wonderful. And now, to finish, I'm going to the resting grounds, because there was a not-so-secret path that I missed. And there we finish with the Dream Shield charm. I still needed to finish the vessel's last part, which I missed earlier in the nest area. It was definitely my ADHD acting up here. And now, my friends, the big moment has arrived. It was time to go to the Black Egg Temple and face our destiny once and for all. If our existence comes down to this moment, let's face it bravely. When we arrive, the seal breaks and the entrance opens. Inside, the place is really dark and mysterious, and unfortunately, there's a bench for us to rest. Moving forward, we find this vessel record. Even though it's trapped, it must know the state of the world. Hallownest will be whole again, and at that moment, the game shows my percentage, which is at 106. That's what I got, right? I think the rest is due to the Pantheons, and perhaps the charm vendor's blessing, which I forgot to buy. Anyway, let's move on. Inside, I find the first vessel trapped, but with its eyes already consumed by the infection. To start the battle, we have to break all the chains, and then the boss is released. This is the Hollow Knight. This is a painful fight, because we're facing someone who had a purpose and couldn't fulfill it because of a stain in his void. We need to defeat him to solve this problem. Remember, since the infection's light is in him, you'll sometimes see him hitting himself. That's due to his purpose and the order from the Pale King. He grew up to contain the infection, and during the fight, regains consciousness and tries to help me by attacking himself to fight it. Understanding everything and the weight of past events changes everything. In the end, when we defeat him, we absorb all that light into our void. But hold on, wait a minute. There's something missing, isn't there? Of course there is, man. It's the DLC from Godmaster. No, man. Besides that, I think we're missing something. I return to my save, and now we can make different choices. With this ending, the world is freed from the light. But we don't know for how long, or if it's truly a permanent solution, right? So, what you need to do is uncover the truth behind everything. By equipping King Soul, we'll have access to our birthplace. I'll then head towards the abyss. Down there, the ground opens up, and after going through this whole maze, we find something unusual. For the first time, I see my reflection in this broken egg, and, by using the dream nail on myself, we access our memories.
No price too high.
We wake up again, and we're still in the abyss. I start climbing all the way up while we see bodies falling from above.
No mind to think, no will to break, no voice to cry suffering, born of God and void. You will will seal the blinding light that plagues your dreams. You are the vessel. You are the hollow knight.
And so, my friends, the king's soul turns into the void heart. In this way, we reach the totality of the void, and in fact, we don't even have a reflection anymore. The little souls that keep flying around here start to ignore us. They don't even attack me anymore. Now, I make my way all the way back until I reach the temple. Once again, unlike the first time, now Hornet is waiting for us there, watching, because she saw that the path was open. She can't come in with us because her body can't handle that environment, but she promises to show up when the time is right. So that's it, family. Let's face the Hollow Knight once again. And before the fight comes to an end, while the knight is weakened, Hornet appears and traps him using her threads. That's our cue. We need to use the Dream Nail to access the infection from within. This is where that light naturally exists. She is the very essence. She is the dream. She is the radiance. This is the entity behind everything. Much more than just an infection, she's also like a god. If we defeat her, we'll be able to cut the problems right at the root. While you watch the fight, let me give you some context about this kingdom's past. The Radiance has existed for a long time, even before Worm the Pale King arrived here. The Radiance created all the moths. She controlled the beings, using their dreams and bringing collective thoughts to everyone. But when Worm appeared, there was conflict between the two. The king brings the possibility of individual consciousness and wisdom to the insects, on the condition that they abandon the past, that is, leaving the Radiance forgotten. Radiance, with anger and hatred, now infects creatures, bringing infection to their minds through the dream world, with the intention of regaining its influence, even if it is through pain. The rest of the story you already know, so the question remains, who here is right or wrong? These are different ways of seeing things. But Radiance has its own reasons and motivations for being so enraged. Either way, that doesn't change the purpose for which we were born and exist. So there is no choice but to move forward. And as the fight comes to an end, the empty spirit of the first knight appears and helps us by forcefully restraining Radiance. and in a rather aggressive way, we combine our attacks to completely end her existence. And so, light breathes its last. This was the story of Hollow Knight. I really hope you enjoyed the video because it was an absurd amount of work. Maybe the most complex video I've made on the channel so far. I apologize in advance if I got any part of the story wrong or missed several details. The game is huge and rich in information. I know there are even some bosses I didn't face. Like Zote, the Mighty. Every conversation with the NPCs is well thought out. If you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. So if I were to put everything here in the video, it would easily be about 10 hours long. But I sincerely hope that everyone enjoyed the video, and if you want me to cover the Godmaster DLC, just leave a beetle emoji or any other insect in the comments. So I know you've watched this far and want more DLC story videos. Before finishing, I want to thank the channel's VIP members. Know that the support you give really strengthens my desire to keep making better and better content. Thank you all so much, and take care. That's it for now. So guys, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any updates. And while you, just like me, are waiting for Silksong to be released, check out this video I made about the game 9 Souls, which honestly is just as good as Hollow Knight. Seriously, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it, but that's it for me. Take care and see you in the next video, Zombra.